First scrimmage happened. We're going to talk about that and what injuries look like here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show, presented by such and such. That is Coop. I am Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to while you're here. Please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, and give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway. Gift it. So, on today's episode, we've got some fun stuff to talk about because, yeah, I'm pretty giddy about this. I'm not going to lie. First scrimmage went down, and it sounds like everything you all hoped for. We got a 2027 commitment, and I have no clue where the heck it came from, but Coop had a dang good interview. And we're going to also talk about who we think is going to step out. It's about time to start breaking down the roster because we only about 2.5 weeks away. Coop! Happy Sunday, my man. How you doing?
It's hot, Jay. It is always hot, and my OLD is starting to act up with this heat, and so kids be outside wanting me to go crawdad fishing and other stuff, and I can't say no, especially since I might disappear for about 4 months here in 2.5 weeks. Yeah. So I went outside, did some disc golf with my daughter and some crawdad fishing, and then got my nap in. You got an old man nap in too, didn't you?
Oh, I did. We're painting parking spots for my kid for the school year. His parking spot, his senior year. He's going to be done getting out of the spot. RDS has to remind every single one of you every Sunday, please get in the water. We are here. This is exactly how this is going to go. So yeah, did that this morning. It was hot. Got that in, got me a little smoothie in, got some food, sat on the couch after a shower and said, I'm going to go ahead and just lay down for a second. Next thing I know, it's like 3 o'clock. And I'm like, actually it's 4 o'clock. I'm like, what the heck? Like a 2-hour nap. That was elite. I needed that in my life. So, but as our boy Red likes to remind y'all, get in the water. We are really like Robert Spears Jennings weeks away from having a morning after a football game. I am here. 3 weeks away. I'm stoked. The first scrimmage happened this weekend. So, of course, me and Coop are going to touch on that. Let's open with this, though, Coop. Luke, where did he come from? Like, I just know that we got a commitment. Then you got an interview, like, right afterwards, which was even more amazing. Fantastic job for you. Proud of you. Talk to us about this, man.
This is Luke Wilson. He is in South Lake Carroll. They were the 6A2 runners-up this past year. I can say 6'6". His exact measurements he gave me on the interview were 6'7", 290. He said 295 on a good day. And so just chatting up with him. He is a dude who came into camp earlier in the spring. They got after him pretty quickly. I believe that Nagy and Coach Beatonbow went over, grabbed him, pulled him aside, gave him the offer. He was a guy he is completely enamored with the OU offensive line tradition. I guess they pointed out some stuff to him. That OU offensive linemen are making more in the NFL than most teams in college football. As players from Oklahoma. And so
that's dumb.
It is. It's pretty crazy. And it's not like these guys are hidden like 3 or 4 on the depth chart or on the practice squads. Like a lot of these guys are, in the top 100 for the century. And so, he wanted to join the pedigree. And his situation was, he went home. He had conversations with his dad. And, they kind of talked it over. And I think he had committed one night and then dropped the graphic. And so go check out the interview because the dude, that's a pretty dope graphic. And this dude is, he plays on a team with a lot of really cool, D1 prospects. Then they got one of their wide receivers going to be a senior this year, committed to Ohio State. Another cat who is on our radar for 27, a 6'4", 190-pound wide receiver. They've got a couple different guys on there. But this guy took over the left tackle for the 6A2 runner-up in Texas. As a freshman. And so he had first listed, I think his first profile listing had him at like 240. And dude has just been absolutely hitting the grind, getting stronger, gaining weight. I think he said he gained 40 pounds in the past like calendar year, and so man, just an absolute stud. And like I said, loves the university. And you know, he was talking about, you know, OU's going to win a natty very, very soon. And so you love hearing all that type of stuff. You love hearing the kid's heart for the team, wanting to get after the recruitment trail, and especially being down in the DFW area. You know, big time deal. But yeah, I hit him up, you know, the evening before his commitment, and I talked about doing maybe like a, you know, a commitment eve. And he said, won't be doing that. And then came back the next morning and said, let's go. And so it was a short interview, about 11 minutes. And then he headed off to practice.
That's what I'm talking about. That was a good interview, too. It was good. You could tell that he is excited, and he's about to start working on recruiting his teammates, which is exactly what you want to see. SBC Bates, thank you for the $1.99. It's 77 degrees in Wisconsin. Be jealous. Yeah, I am jealous. It's like 90. It was 95 when I was outside, and I was sweating. It was bad. Got a good shower in, and now I got a good nap in. So it was good. Coop, turn your volume up. You seem to be low, or move the mic closer to your face.
I'll get it closer.
There we go. There we go.
Louder.
There you go. You sound even better. You sound crisp and crystal clear.
Crispy clear.
Crispy and crisp and crystal clear all at one time. Yeah, that was definitely fumbled that one, but no, that was a good interview though. That was really good. And thank you, SBC Bates. I'm really very upset with you because you put that in my system or whatnot. $5 from Ha Bazinga. Is there any first scrimmage footage out there anywhere that we can access and watch? No, they do not put scrimmage footage out. That's why the media doesn't even get to go to these. The players have the footage. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I've had some footage sent to me, but it's not something that can be for public consumption, unfortunately. So I do apologize that behind the scenes you cannot see that part. They're not going to show anybody the scrimmage because it's actually running plays. It's real life game in moments or whatnot. So no, you're not going to get that. And real quick, Mike Thorpe asked this question: am I thinking wrong? Isn't Kip Lewis still there? I haven't heard anything about how he's doing at practice. If a player is not mentioned, and this is a perfect way for us to get started on talking about it. Let's talk. Actually, you know what, Coop? I told you before we're going to talk offense first. Let's talk defense first. I think defense deserves the opportunity to talk first, and then we'll transition into offense. So, Mike, to answer your question, just because a player isn't mentioned doesn't mean they were bad. Let's just put it that way. Let's start with that. And I'm only saying that because you're not hearing about Kip Lewis because Kip Lewis is the leader. He is your number one linebacker. He's just doing his job every day. He's considered one of the quote-unquote on-field coaches. He is your defensive quarterback. He is your Danny Stutzman based upon everything I've heard about how he's running. And so because he's not excelling like everybody else, it's more so because Kip is being Kip. We already know that he's good. It's kind of like when we talk about offense, and I've talked about Deion Burks. You don't really need to have Deion Burks out there. You know what he can do. Just get healthy and get ready for the season. So, Coop, defense-wise, a combination of it's mixed. And as I said in the opening, you all should be excited about this. It's not the defense destroying them. They're destroying them at moments, but they're not destroying them the entire practice like we had last year. It is an iron sharpening iron situation, in my personal opinion, and it feels like the O-line is actually playing well. But the defense basically won the day, I guess you could say, is kind of how I was told. But, you know, it's all about how you perceive it. Coop, give us your initial thoughts on the defense's performance.
You know, actually going back to the Kip Lewis talk, I think one of the first things we got from fall camp, a.k.a. late summer camp, was Kip Lewis interception. So if you did not see that, I think it was a ball tipped up by Powers, and Kip picked it off. But defense-wise, you know, I hear that there was, and we'll talk more about the offense here next, but there was the early part of the scrimmage on Saturday. The offense did actually get theirs, and then the defense settled in. You know, let's start with the defensive line. Jaden Jackson had a sack I know that he plowed through and blew up some stuff, but he was credited with a sack. I hear that R. Mason Thomas doing R. Mason Thomas type of stuff. And so it has been an absolute, cool thing to hear those types of stories. Danny Okoye on the offensive line, big, multiple plays where he was blowing things up. You continue to hear Taylor Wine, conversations going on. And so, as far as the defensive line, those guys, the note that I got, early, kind of as soon as stuff was wrapped up, was 100%. It says the defense is going to, this defensive line is top 5 for a reason. And so, if you have a blossoming offensive line where you're trying to find the correct 5, and again, going to go into the offense with, some of the injuries and guys shuffling in and out, but that defensive line should win early and often.
Yeah.
Though there was no turnovers, the defensive line and the defense in general, took most of the day.
Which, that's not a bad thing. We kind of expected that. You expected your defense to carry you and lead you for the most part. And this is kind of no different than last year when we talked about how we expected this season to be. We expected the defense last year to be one of Brent Venables' best since being back, and one of his best even being a coach at Oklahoma. Defensive coordinator, etc. This was one of his better ones. And so our expectation was the defense is going to lead the way. And the offense's job is to just get better, get stronger, get faster, and be prepared to also participate in, helping win games. Well, that's what you got. You got a top 10 rated defense in majority of metrics, some top 15. So you got all that you're looking for. The unfortunate thing was the offense could not reciprocate what you were looking for, and that's okay. The good thing, too, now is this time around, the defense, of course, for the most part, wins the day. But the offense actually battled back. So what I was told, offense started the game off strong. Then you saw a balance. And then the defense took over to end it. So basically what you saw was an adjustment. And that's what I take from it, Coop, is the defense adjusted and finished off with the dub. That, to me, is a sign me up. I'll take 2. Right?
Yeah. Well, Jay, in a game situation, right, your offense is going to go out. They're going to go through their drive, and they're going to come over the sideline and hang out for a little bit. But this is a situation to where, with the defensive line being and I think that where it's getting a lot of the best in the nation, best in the SEC nod is because of the depth. Are there other teams that you line up the starting 4 versus our starting 4 and you've got arguments? Yes. But the depth is the thing that is really creating the, best in it. And I think that a lot of the reasons that is because it's not like you can roll out the 2s and then they get to go against, a weaker crew. You got guys, rolling in that second crew who are trying to get their opportunities for this next coming season. So, you're going against the best defensive line every single snap. And then it even creates, the guys in the third team, they have that opportunity to go, all right, this is now my time. So that's when you see, you're going to have your first, set of guys out there, on the ends and in the middle. And then you got guys coming in like Nigel Smith. Nigel Smith, a big dude who has, we didn't hear a lot last year. Nigel, redshirted last year, got his body a little bit more towards that D tackle size rather than that D end size. I know that we did the interview with him, a few years back, and talked to him kind of where he sees him because he was a little bit of a tweener there. But he's in here, getting his opportunity. Wyatt Gilmore up from North. That's another dude who we didn't hear a lot about last year, but now that guy has, been in the system for a year. Now this is his second opportunity to start making an impact. But, you got to look at it when you've got the ends in the defensive tackle groups, and, there's the second string guys would be the best player on another team. That's a tough shake. But Where you didn't see the turnovers, I see that as an awesome, capability for John Mateer not putting the ball in harm's way, because there's other practice reports where certain quarterbacks couldn't get the team past midfield more than one time. Multiple interceptions by people who are supposed to be walking on water at this point. There's situations like that going on, but Mateer's not putting the ball in harm's way. But that doesn't mean that there's not guys taking over, because you're starting to see with certain guys on the shelf. And again, only injury of the day, a concussion protocol for Jacob Sexton, but
we'll get to that
other
on
guys
the offensive side.
The other guys who are out currently are, there's some of these younger guys getting in. So guys like Devon Jordan. If you're a stock buyer, get some Devon Jordan stock, because I hear him, Cortland Guillory, those are guys that shine this weekend. Jeremiah Newcomb, a lot of guys in the secondary are starting to kind of turn it on to a different level.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stock options to purchase on this defense. Devon Jordan was one I saw popped up on the socials, and that was one name I heard in some conversation that they're very pleased with him at corner. J.J. Newcomb as well. So yeah. I know that to me is still the biggest question mark on this defense today. Like, I don't have any questions at linebacker, kind of shockingly. I feel extremely comfortable with the way this linebacker room is set up. I feel extremely comfortable with Kip, Kobe. It sucks we don't have Kanik anymore, but I'm comfortable with Kip, Kobe. I'm comfortable with Kendall Daniels there. I'm comfortable with Samuel Masigo, who seems to be one player that everybody's jumping out and getting big on that. So we've got a lot of very, very good players at the linebacker spot that now we're just waiting to see who will break out, Coop. But corner, there's questions. We got Eli Bowen, but he's hurt. Waiting for him to come back. Hurt his ankle in spring ball. Remember, this is football. It is what it is. People are going to get hurt. Every team has an injury, just put it that way. And they've got guys that are going to sit until, close to the season starts. But Eli out. But J.J. Newcomb is one that I've heard that they like. Him and Eli about the same size. He's a little bit taller. He's a little bit more stocky. And he's scrappy. So that's what's important. You need dudes that's willing to fight for it. And then Cortland Guillory, dude, he may find a way to be a freshman All-American. He may find a way to get on the field, just because not only is he's a bigger sized corner, but he plays as if he's like 5'7", 5'8". Like, he's been fighting his whole life. I mean, he's 6'1". He ain't been fighting for long, but he's fighting for his life out there. Yeah. So you love to hear it. And then if Gentry is healthy, you probably got yourself 4 bookend corners at minimum, maybe 5, going throughout the entire year. And in 26 is going to be where everybody says, yeah, they may have one of the better secondaries in the country.
Yeah. And, that doesn't even count in the guys like a Kendall Dolby, Reggie Powers, any of the safeties, because there's a lot of quality depth right there too. When, you've got Peyton Bowen, who, and again, he did go into the scrimmage. I think he was on punt return, so he was out there doing some stuff too. But Robert Spears-Jennings, Reggie Powers, there's not a report. You could have an offensive line report, and somehow Reggie Powers' name is starting to sneak into those types of things.
Yep.
So that's great, and especially I think his pops is probably in here creeping too. But
he's proud.
That's an awesome moment for him. But again, Michael Boganowski had another good turnout here too this weekend. So, like I said, offense started off with good success. We'll hop into that. But
in just
this
a
defense
minute,
just has more and more and more guys starting to show up, and it's not a situation that I think guys are just, getting lucky or anything like that. I think it's that there's now a standard set on the defensive side of the ball that you cannot show up on the field and not be pushed to actually, just drive and be excellent, because that's, you don't want to look out there and be like, man, I was the weak one on this one. You want to keep it cruising.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to make sure that both are strong contributors period, right? You want both sides of the ball to contribute. But so the defense, to me, there's a lot that there's a lot of people in positions to talk through. We'll do that probably. We'll start doing position breakdowns. I got position breakdown videos coming out throughout the week because it's time to really start looking at not only weight changes, but who's the players to really keep our eyes on, young and old, just so you guys are well informed. So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Yes, Coach Powers is in. He's laying low. We appreciate him always pulling up. Let's talk offense. We all know that all y'all wants to know what the heck John Mateer looking like. We had a question here from Hobbsing again, $5. Thank you so much for that. What was the word on how comfortable Mateer looked with our high-level defense on the other side of the ball? Did he look SEC ready? Guess what? Yeah, he looked like he's ready to play here. And with the way him and the wide receivers look, they look like they're very, 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 very comfortable with each other. Now, granted, you didn't have everybody. Zion Kearney did not participate in this scrimmage. I know that he's out for a couple of days, but he should be back this week. So no Kearney. You have no actually Burks was out there. I saw him in a jersey. So I think he did pull up and play a little bit. So he's back. You're still waiting on Giovanni and Jaden Gibson. So the two Gibson boys should be coming back soon. But if there's a name to keep your eyes out for, period, point blank, the dude to keep your eyes on is Isaiah Satania. I talked about him in a video not too long ago. And Satania is like, I think he's going to be the real deal, Coop. But to answer the question that Ha has about Mateer, I think Mateer is 100% ready. They win enough to make you feel like, let me put it this way. I'll pull back on this and pass it to you, Coop, and get your thoughts. The best part about Mateer is when he makes a mistake, he gets back out there and goes right back at them as if nothing happened the last play. He has a very short memory in that capacity of making a mistake. The only thing he remembers is, okay, be careful about the player leaning this direction, go the opposite way. He adjusts his game for it. And that is what you have to have when you're going against a good defense, because the defense is going to kick your tail sometimes. And if you can't adjust it and get some big plays out of them every once in a while, you're in trouble. They got a big play out of Satania in that game.
Yeah, Satania had an 80-yarder. And remember, Isaiah Satania was playing in Arkansas, so if somebody wants to toss out, can he play at this level? He did. And this guy's probably going back to be the leading receiver, probably for Arkansas this coming year. He decided to hit the portal, came over this way. He is a guy who just understands what he's supposed to do. He knows how to find the space. Him and Burks are going to be problems on the inside, pretty much every single game. And Satania with the big catch, a tight end touchdown. Jay, we had a Will Huggins touchdown. Hey, listen there, that's nothing to be upset about. But Will Huggins is, probably him and Caden Helms are going to be the two kind of challengers for that starting position at tight end. So Helms did sit. He is still practicing. Going just with whatever he can do. Pain tolerance with the hand injury. I hear it's not as bad as it could have been, and so he should have that thing off before too long. But you've got Huggins. Javante Barnes also had himself a touchdown. Javante, and then the next kid that I want to talk about, man, is Mr. Blaylock, because we got another kid, freshman running back, and in listening to what Teddy said on the breakdown, is that guy is just the elite level fast. And so this is a dude who he wants to have his opportunity. And with Tatum returning this week, I believe that X-Rob is going to be starting running here this week, so he's on his way up. But right now, you've got Javante Barnes and Torrey Blaylock are taking the most of the running back snaps, and those dudes are they're getting after it. And this is Javante Barnes' season. It's his challenge has always been just staying healthy the rest of the season. But early in the season, Javonte is always one of those guys that you see and you just feel, he is a stud, and, he's been working on his body. He knows this is his last go-round. He came back for a reason, and both those guys want some playing time this year.
Yeah, they both do. They both want to get in the game, and so they're going to be doing whatever they can to get themselves on the field. And, of course, we're excited about that because that's what we're hoping for. We want dudes that want to play. We don't want to have guys that ain't trying to do what's needed to get on the field. And boy, we had a lot of that here in this one, in this scrimmage. A lot of players were showing you reasons why they need to be on the field. And boy, do I feel good. I'm excited, man. We haven't felt this good or comfortable about the offense since the DG era, honestly. You got a quarterback with the confidence that if a mistake's made, it doesn't matter. There's Deion Burks making a catch, and now he's back. No reason to even be concerned whatsoever on him. So yeah, we're good. But yeah, it's what we want out of this team is the feeling that there's confidence on both sides of the ball. And I do feel like we have a substantial amount of confidence on both sides. Mateer, like I said, he goes back at them. And I think that that's the one thing that makes the most sense. That's the thing that makes you say, oh, okay, I think we're good. Because in a lot of situations, you don't have players that will. Some people fold up. It just is what it is. That's just the game. Some fold up. Some go out there and battle back. And he's one that 100% battles back. I'm not sure how many touchdowns they had in this one. That was the one thing I was not told. Did you know?
No, I mean, I know that there were at least 4 on the offense. So, but outside of that, I don't think that we're going to get, a box score or anything like that. But yeah, with when these guys are going at it, some of the stuff is situational, some of the stuff's in the red zone. But the only thing that I did not hear is that the team was, the offense just absolutely, was bottled up and just couldn't do anything. And
yeah,
you get some of the, I hear that it got a little chippy at times because the offense actually, like I said in this, about the spring, the offense won a lot in the spring. And, hearing stuff from players and players' parents that Arbuckle has this innate knack for just scheming stuff open.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we absolutely lacked last year was any type of identity and any type of, capability just to get guys open. And so, I think one of the defensive backs said, there are times that we got the perfect everything called and a dude just has an option route and he finds the open spot. And so that's what you're looking for is you don't need this offense to be, Sam Bradford years. You don't need it to be Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, later years, or even, Jalen Hurts. You need this offense just to be functional and to not get in its own way. And so, that's where I think that, you heard Josh Pate, make a comment about, when Arbuckle was hired, it was he got more calls about Arbuckle than he actually got about Mateer, just people checking in, seeing what this guy was really about. And, everybody understands that, Arbuckle might be a guy who's here for 1 to 2 years and be on to something different. And so he is going to be, and that's how you get that notoriety is you have that capability of doing those things. But, Mateer's going to help him out quite a bit. And, Arbuckle's already got a bunch of dudes on his list for his tutelage that have done things.
I put it to you this way. If Michael Hawkins Jr. next year, if Mateer has a really good year this year, Mateer's gone. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. If Michael Hawkins comes behind him and has a really good season or absurd season after him, yeah, you're probably going to hear Ben Arbuckle's name in head coaching jobs in Power 4 literally right afterwards. The question is, what job does he want and how soon does he want to go take said job? That's where you're going to be that's where we're going to be in the next couple of years if things are successful. You're going to be waiting to see when he says, yeah, I'm out. I'm going to bounce. I'm going to take, look, I don't want to take the, let's just throw one out there.
Washington
I don't want
State.
the Houston job. I don't want West Virginia. I don't want Washington. Well, looking at P4, I don't want Illinois. I would prefer to have, I don't want Syracuse. I would prefer to have Miami. I would prefer to have possibly Florida State. I would prefer to have North Carolina, South Carolina. I would prefer to have something that bigger, and that's kind of like Florida, right? That was the big thing with Brent Venables and the rumor of Auburn offering him the job and he telling him no thanks. It was more of a, I don't want to just take any head coaching job. I want to make sure it's a head coaching job that not only makes sense, but one that's good. So I'm giving Arbuckle 3 years. I think Bo Bentley hits the field at least once as the starter before we actually see Arbuckle leave. I think he gets a full season of Bo Bentley. Then that's going to be interesting after that. Not going to lie.
And, Arbuckle is 29. And I think that right now what he has to deliver, obviously he has to deliver the season. But you got a cat like, he's got multiple productive offenses. With Bailey Zappi, Cam Ward, and Mateer even last year, that's what people want to see. They want to see that capability to, churn out a legit offense. And other P4 programs were wanting him just the same as Oklahoma. And so the next thing is him coming here and doing it at a bigger program. And then what's going to even help him more this year is he's going to have some of that pressure. He's going to do it against the best of the best competition-wise. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of it, he's got Kevin Wilson there to kind of help him through the do's and don'ts. Kevin Wilson has been, superiorly successful in some stops and has learned the hard way in others. And I think that that's why he's on the team is not just to, because that guy's not here to run the offense. He's not here to, just be like Brent Venables' get-back coach. He's here to kind of help us get to the next level.
Yeah, that's what he's here for. He's here to help elevate the team. He's been a head coach. He's been offensive coordinator on some very successful teams. He has a natty. So he understands what to do. And now he's here to help be the quote-unquote tutelage for our guy, Ben Arbuckle, to make sure that he's leading himself in a direction to become a head coach. And I think I would not doubt that Arbuckle is for real listening to Kevin Wilson in a lot of capacities. He's learning what to do, what not to do, how to manage the time. Because that's the biggest thing, especially on offense, is managing the clock. That's the one thing that really tells you about how well you are as a coach. How do you manage? What's your time management look like? And so Ben Arbuckle is going to have to get really good at that here in the near future. And I think he can. But I think that's where Kevin Wilson comes in. I think that's where Kevin Wilson, like you mentioned, isn't here just to be a get-back coach. He's here to really be a mentor. And I bet you Ben Arbuckle, it's the minute he got the opportunity to sit down and talk, he's probably like, "Oh yeah, give me that. Yeah. Let me eat that. Let me learn that information because I think we're good." So offense-wise, we're all satisfied for right now. First scrimmage is good. It sounds like it was a balance. Offense started off strong, which means they schemed up a lot of stuff to make the defense work. You saw a balance, and then the defense adjusted and ended up closing out strong. And truth be told, that's exactly how you want to go in your practices, because if your defense can't adjust to their own offense, they ain't adjusting to nobody else's offense whenever you go play in these dang conference games against these coordinators who are NFL caliber. But thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. Coop. We talked about how we got a commit. The scrimmage note sounds like we should be some pause, but we're good. Concerns. We've had few of these shots that's got people shaking up. The offensive line held their own to start but that did not last long. The DNs are that good, and they just couldn't slow down the pass rush, which would be expected.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking concerns, Coop, I want to first preface this here for the listener base. I dropped my other video, and first off, I apologize about that video. I found what my problem was. There was a setting that keep getting turned on that shouldn't have even been enabled in general. That was giving us feedback. So that last video had a lot of feedback. So if you were able to power through it, I do appreciate you. But I do have it fixed. I actually have it fixed on my audio interface, and that, so I won't have that problem going forward. But you're gonna deal with quote unquote shakeups, I guess you could say, bells being rung when you play a very physical brand of football. And if there's one thing that I hope that this staff takes in consideration with a lot of that, is that they make sure that we ramp up the physicality and ramp that ish down until you get to some games. Because when you're dealing with a physical brand of football, people are going to deal with that stuff. And that's the one thing you think about when you got game 2 coming up. Michigan plays a physical brand of football. They are physical. That is Sharon Moore's entire system. So if you want to prepare for that game, you're going to have to be pushing each other around while at the same time you're going to preserve some brain cells. So to me, I anticipate a ramp up and I anticipate a ramp down over the next couple of weeks. Coop, concerns that you have here in fall camp?
No, you started out the day with your number 1 and number 2 right tackle being on the concussion protocol. And last year, I'll start it out this way: last year it was go, 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 go. And I mean, there were a lot of conversations about people saying, hey, Brant, you need to dial it back a little bit. Hey, we need to take a little bit more conservative approach. And they've been doing that this year. They've really, guys, when they get nicked up a little bit or they're struggling through some stuff, those guys are going to come over to the sideline and they're going to sit and they're going to chill. It's one of those situations, Jay, where if we had a game this week, they would play. But it's not 100% necessary, and you want the depth because look at last year.
Yep.
And so you started out with both let's see here, Jake Taylor, who and Simmons, Simmons is probably going to be your starter at right tackle, and then Jake Taylor's your backup. And so your third string guy, they rolled out Logan Howland. They told him, hey, man, we need you to slide over here to right tackle and help us out over here. So you had Logan Howland and Baklenko at right tackle. That's pretty good. But,
that's good, Chuck. That was good, Chuck. That was good. I'm sorry.
Pretty good. knock us off. But yeah, you had some of those guys who were sitting out. Again, if it could have been game day, they would have been playing. At least one of those two guys. And then Jacob Sexton in, I guess, what we would call the third quarter portion of the scrimmage. Went out with a concussion protocol. And here's the situation: it is an NFL protocol. If they see a hit and they see something that is right, that looks like it needs to be addressed, they're going to go and they're going to run the player through evaluation, and then they're going to be sitting out a minimum of 4 days. We've seen concussions with Dylan Gabriel. We've seen concussions in the past with other players where they had to sit out for a while. The only injury of the day was the Jacob Sexton. You had a guy like Fasusi being able to run in there and play right afterwards. Fasusi is still, he's still, again, has not played a single college football game yet. But he had, you got R. Mason Thomas right across from you. And then you got Danny Okoye across from you. So, I mean, these situations are going to be, he's going up against some salty pups. And so, the only concerns I would say is, would be, listen, after last year, which is a freaking anomaly, you're going to have some, trepidation about hearing guys, especially, oh gosh, now we got 3 offensive linemen, in concussion protocol. Well, 2 of them are coming back this week. So, I mean, that's going to happen. And like I said, you've seen those practice clips. You see the gang tackling. You saw it all last season. Dudes are getting hit left and right. You saw that against other teams. There's a lot of physical football being played. The thing is
what y'all
this
want.
is which is what you want. And so, you do have, let's see here, Keontae Lewis, little hamstring. He set out the practice, getting himself correct. So, when they have something and you're going to be needing those guys, you set them guys out and you say, hey, take a few days. They're going to have practice a couple days early in the week, and then they're going to take a little team break and then get back after it. I think that the second scrimmage is where they bring back a lot of the older players and the older player barbecue, which will be this coming week. But the after this week, then it starts implementing what you're wanting to do against Illinois State and what you're wanting to do against Michigan. That's when they're going to start working on those, situational and more team-driven portions. But no, Jay, I don't have any concerns at this point. The concern would come is if somebody was being, held out and you hear that a wide receiver was just running open on the left side of the field all day long. Or a concern would be that the fourth string, right tackle, which was Logan Hallen, the fourth or Baklenko, whichever one it is that our defensive ends couldn't get past him. That's where my concern would be. It's not a situation. Or if I had, a right tackle battling for a position, him go out with an ACL or something like you've seen from other teams. So those are concerns that I would be concerned about. As of right now, again, you're playing every single snap against what's going to be one of the better defenses in the country. Snap in and snap out.
Yeah, the expectation is that they're going to be really good. Let's just put it that way. You expect this D line to be good, and since that's the case of what you're dealing with, you expect for this defense to win a lot more of the battles. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with it.
And Jay, there's more guys on their way back. Like I said, Giovanni Gibson and Xavier Robinson are beginning running. Giovanni Gibson, that's what you're really, really hoping for is that he's ready to go for Michigan. And that's your kind of goal for that at this point. Eli Bowen probably in the next week should be about the same situation where he's starting to run. And so you're getting more guys back. And this team, you're having success on both sides. And you get some more of your dudes back, who have been out. I mean, that's a good place to be.
Yeah, and kind of like Red just posted up there, your biggest concern is going to be lower body injuries. You want to make sure people aren't giving themselves injuries that will take them out for a legitimate time. That's okay. That's what we want to make sure that we don't have a bunch of those. So you've got Giovanni, Jaden, that's your two wide receivers. You've got Eli with the ankle. I mean, that's really...
And that's it.
And then Andy Bass is coming back from the ACL tear, and he looks good, which is still weird. He's a freaking monster besides human being. As
long as he's not slated to be the next Superman, he's going to be, joining the team before too long.
Yeah, he probably will. Good God. He could be a machine.
His agent needs to call DC because that dude is just monster.
He really is. I was very shocked when I saw how big legitimately big he is. I'm like, good Lord, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, and then Caden Helms did have, the break in his hand. My daughter just went through the same situation, and I promise you this, she doesn't have the recovery team that a D1 college football program has, and, she was back in 4 weeks. So that's going to be a pain tolerant situation for him. But, you got good news coming. Like I said, you're going to have a couple practices early this week. They're going to take a few days, a day off to kind of a team get together type of a situation. And then, you get to play in front of the alumni, and then it starts for installation stuff. And so, it's hot out there, and those guys. I mean, you see those videos that when they're coming in and out of the practices, and it's not like this team is all just marching by. I mean, these guys are excited about what the capabilities are, and you're starting to see it from many, many, many other folks. Because Jay, I mean, you can go search around programs in the SEC right now, and all of a sudden, a lot of really, really high expectations are starting to be tempered after the scrimmage number 1.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we're getting there, y'all. We are this close. Like, we can all taste it.
Yeah.
We are right there. Football is right in front of us. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. I'm thinking, Coop. I'm thinking. Who do you think is one that could break out? I see some of your questions have populated. I had one here that I really like. Over under on Jaden Ott getting 8 touchdowns on the ground this year. Oh, I'm easily taking over. There's no doubt in my mind that he's gonna be one of the top 5 running backs in the SEC. Period.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the over. And here's the thing is I think his freshman year he had 40 some odd catches. He had close to 30 the next 2 years, and that's last year with his injury pieces. Jaden Ott, this is not a if you remember Eric Gray was a little bit more of a slider frame, or you go even way back into like a Quentin Griffin. When your offensive line can really make that push, and you got guys who have the vision that he has, that's one thing that this team's been missing is a dude who actually just has a feel, for where the openings are going to be. And so I think that Jaden Ott, you're going to look. I'm going to be doing some, top 10 predictions here, in the next couple weeks. And I think that that's going to be one of mine is the over-under for total touchdowns for Ott I'm probably going to say, I would like to say the over total touchdowns is probably going to be 12. And so I see him getting some big opportunities. And, that's why the team went out there and made him a priority.
Yeah. So we went after him. We wanted to get ourselves and it was nothing against our younger backs. We needed another number 1 running back. We really did. And we got that. We got a dude that has put up the number, like Nagy was watching him for the Senior Bowl. So we knew who was going to watch him. So I'm really thinking that he's going to be, he's probably going to end up being double-digit touchdowns this year. That is going to be what they're going to be focused on. And you can't beat that. Love it.
You had several guys. You had Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee with 22 touchdowns. Rocket Sanders for USC with 11. Jackson at Arkansas 15. Le'Veon Moss for 10. You had a lot of guys. So you got to be able to get it in the end zone, and whether that is from score from far, score from close, whatever it is. And I think that one thing that's really, really going to help, and probably steal some, but then also probably help some too, is the fact that Mateer, that's a 6'1", 225-pound quarterback, and that guy will pull the ball and go too. So you can't load up on the running back down at the when you're in the goal line situation. So I think that that's really going to help him out too.
And that's what you need. A situation where they're not loading the box for him. And I love the fact that he won't have to. So you'll have him, you'll have Tatum, you have X-Rob, you've got Blaylock, you've got Barnes, and Javonte still's a hard worker. I know not everybody's very high on him over the last few years of having him, dealing with his injuries and stuff, but the dude works his tail off. That's kind of why he's still here, and that's why as a senior he'll be able to participate and be a contributor, because he's one that's going to work his tail off. You ain't got to question it. He's going to run hard. He's going to block hard. He's going to do everything that he needs to do. And I think the team is is hoping that he contributes enough for what we got going on.
And and what you're looking at Javonte is a situation like AD's first year with where Keywan was just a reliable guy. He was just going to make a play that was right in front of him, and he was going to get it. Was he going to be what AD was? No. Same thing with Alan Patrick, Chris Brown. You had lots of those guys who were complimentary second guys who were not as explosive as other dudes out in front of them, but they were still reliable guys that you could get stuff out of. Yep. And that there's a lot of teams right now would like to fall back on a Javonte Barnes.
Shoot, man, the running back room is going to be the most interesting in how they do it because, of course, you're going to bell cow, especially in SEC play. But I'm really curious what it looks like for how they rotate the other guys. Like you said, X-Rob and Tatum are still out, but they're coming. Once they get going, then we'll have a full room. But Torrey Blaylock's going to be a name that's going to be mentioned a hell of a lot over the next few months. So brace yourself and prepare yourself for that one. I'm actually curious. What we're going to have to do is I've been digging through the notes of the competition and their camp stuff. Some people aren't happy, Coop. There's a lot of
It's right now. Listen, the scrimmage one down at Texas, good amount of injuries, good amount of turnovers. You could look at it one way. You could say, oh, yeah, but our defense should be ahead.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah, your
That's
defense
the
should be
expectation,
ahead.
too. Yeah, I
Now,
expect
you
that,
get
too,
at
out of
the
them.
injuries. You come out with the injuries. You had the situation with Garrett Nussmeier the other day to where the internet almost blew up because they heard that he tore his ACL, but it is a lingering knee issue in the tendonitis piece. Tennessee looks like they want to reset and
They want to
start
refund.
everything. Yeah, they want to start everything back over. And then right after a poor scrimmage, one of your higher expected receivers gets pulled over, going 60 and a 35, and has a suspended license. So Auburn, they said that Jackson Arnold could not pass the midfield more than once in the scrimmage, and lots of drops from the wide receiver core. So I just say this is the grass is always greener scenario. I mean, I don't look at a team on OU's schedule this year and I think that, in the SEC that I'm like, that team got, undeniably better. And it's not just me saying that. You've got a lot of national heads starting to say that, and a lot of people are starting to dig further in. And so you look at the schedule, and by name, this OU schedule looks just absolutely daunting. But we've talked about it ad nauseum, Jay.
Terrifying. It's going to be so bad, man. Like every time I look at the schedule, I remind myself, the world's going to come to an end when we get into SEC play. And then I hear all these reports come out, and I'm just like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. It's like I said, there's not a team that you can look at it and you're like, man, they got absolutely undeniably better this next year.
Nope.
And so
not
again,
one.
by the look at the schedule, yeah, but let's see what's happening. LSU replacing their offensive line. The offensive line was an issue in their first scrimmage. Their quarterback gets drilled and gets carted off or walked off of practice, and they shut everything down. And they're doing damage control and say it's not that big a deal. But listen, your quarterback gets hit in the knee and he gets taken off the field. That's a deal.
Everything's fine.
Yeah,
everything's good. Nothing to see here. Go back to your homes. We're good. Yeah, no, it's hilarious to see just how bad the Auburn one is not. Well, it's not surprising, but it's also kind of heartbreaking because I was actually hoping for a bounce back. Like after our game, I was hoping for a bounce back, but it sounds literally the exact same as what things sounded like here. Like Auburn fans are really right there at the ledge. I've seen a couple with bleaching hands. I would really hope they would put that down. They need to go ahead and stop with just put it down, guys. It's okay. I promise. Things are not as bad as you think it is. They're losing their minds, Coop, and I don't know what to do.
It is.
I feel so bad for them. Tennessee fans are losing their minds too. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Joey Aguilar was going to be someone. I thought that he would fit well in this system because of the way that he moves. It appears that he isn't going to fit very well early. Maybe in a year, but I don't know if he is actually the Hendon Hooker that I thought he was.
Yeah.
I thought he had a little Hendon Hooker in his system, and I don't think he does.
And here's the thing. Maybe he ends up, maybe they end up getting it together. But, that team, I just really encourage you guys, if you have not listened to the OK Breakdown and gone in and heard, kind of Pate talk about stuff, he says you go campus to campus and everybody feels, Last year for programs like Ole Miss, for programs like Tennessee and South Carolina, that was the best that they had been in quite a long time. And every program thinks, well, we can build on that going forward this next year. Well, there's so much attrition all over this league. And and that's hard for you to say that as a program that you've been a traditional, like hovering around the 500, that you're just going to reload because one season you did really well. Well, guess what? You got to redo those things.
Yeah.
Those are the big pieces. And so you can't, and I think that's where a lot of people are, instead of looking at what's going on coming into this season, a lot of people are saying based off of last season. But if those teams were the best that they've ever been last year, then
Yeah. No, you're right. I like this the national media is talking about OU run game as much as material that puts this offense back to AD days. Not a bad place to be. You're 100% right. And more people are talking about Ott now. And it's funny because we heard a lot about Ott when he first came. Then you saw the scale back. Then you started to hear more again. Like it was, of course, everything still hinges on the shoulders of John Mateer. His ability and the way that he is able to perform in the SEC. Everyone believes that he'll be just fine. Like I haven't heard a single person say, I have concerns about him being able. Everybody's like, nah, I think he'll be good. We've watched coaches come from other conferences with their offense. Hell, Vanderbilt beat Alabama with Tim Cook and Diego Pavia coming from, Mississippi State. New Mexico State. New Mexico State also won at Alabama 2 years in a row. Auburn 2 years in a row. I'm getting this all mixed up. Auburn 2 years in a row. They beat Auburn twice. That combination of coaches. Actually, he's got 3 wins against Hugh Freeze, doesn't he? Now, think about it. Diego Pavia's got 3 wins against Hugh Freeze. I think he's got a win when he was at Liberty as well, which is even more fascinating. Diego Pavia out here the boogeyman, dude.
there's just certain guys. There's just certain guys sometimes that they'll just have a team's.
Look.
It's all across all sports.
Now, let me look at this. Let me see. That was what, because he was there, was at 23. They went 10-5. The 2023 team, let me see. Actually, that one they lost but they won at Auburn. So that was the year before. So 2022, 7-6, they beat Liberty November of 2022, and Diego Pavia was the quarterback. So Diego Pavia won that game, Coop. Then the next year, when Hugh leaves and goes to Auburn, he goes to Auburn and whoops up on them 31-10. Remember, Auburn has NFL players. They won some games that year too in the SEC, but they lost to New Mexico. And then Diego Pavia goes over there to Vandy and gets 2 big wins. Owns the state of Alabama, kind of like us. We're cohabitors. We share that as a family, right? It's that side of our family of owning the state of Alabama. Mr. Hutton, good to see you. Question: how did the 2025 O-line guys do in the scrimmage? Coop, what you hear?
Actually, I'm glad that he asked that, because I know that we were talking about that right before we came.
We did.
Because there's a lot of dudes that I with your son and everybody else. I wanted to maybe try to go down there, not this coming week, but in 2 weeks, to see if I can catch up with guys like even from the 24 guys, but checking in with Hutton, checking in with Hollenbeck, seeing what those guys are starting to do, because I think I was talking to our friend there, Red Dirt, and a lot of the same notes came out. So, when you're reading stuff, stuff that we're saying, stuff that, OU Insider Scoop and everybody is saying, a lot of these notes come from the same sources, and they aren't super deep. So we didn't hear a lot about the other, kind of the younger guys on there. So I want to find out more.
Mm-hmm. I heard a lot about, Fasusi, Little Foger, not a lot. But I'm going to be honest, I think I expect more of them playing in the next scrimmage. Right?
Both of them did take a lot of snaps. When Sexton went down, Fasusi took a lot of snaps with the first, and then Foger took a lot of snaps with the first team too.
Because Foger was in the right guard spot, right?
Yeah.
And I think that they were cross-training with Howland at right tackle.
Yeah, Howland was asked to go at right tackle, I think, on Thursday or Friday. So they slid him over there. And, again, I think Bill Belichick said it, that, like, when you slide guys from position to position because you are weak at a position, then you weaken two positions. So it's kind of a tough deal because you start bouncing guys around, and that's one of the biggest things that took so long for this offensive line to really catch any type of, momentum last year. Is it was like the cup game with the ball in the middle of one of them, and you're just shuffling things, and at some point you just feel like, what are we doing here? So, but I did hear with Fasusi and Foje, they look like they belong at times. They look like they still got some learning to do at times, and
there's nothing wrong with that.
2 weeks into camp, that's what you should see.
Exactly. That's the expectation. At this point, there should still have things to learn. They shouldn't be able to walk out and dominate against a defense that's considered one of the best in the SEC. But they also start off every single what I've heard is they start off each roughly practices and scrimmages. They start off very strong, right? 7-on-7s. They start off strong, and then the defense adjusts, which is exactly what you expect from Brent Venables and his defenses. Is that we're going to adjust over time as the game goes on, which I love. Got your boy. Man, that's just got me excited. Like, we're only 3 weeks away, man. We need to get here. Let's wrap it up. Go ahead.
I'll make it easier for you, Jay. We only have 2 weeks left without Oklahoma football.
Only technically 2 weeks and 6 days of no Oklahoma football. You got exactly Robert Spears Jennings weeks left before I drop a morning after, and then we go live that evening. Gosh, I'm so excited. Let me see what questions y'all have got. Have you heard anything about Tatum getting better holding the ball throughout the spring and summer? Tatum has been down. But I heard that he has been working on it. But he returns this week. So I heard that he's been taking care of the ball, though. He's taking all of that seriously, which is all that matters, right? Like, we want to just make sure everybody's taking that stuff seriously. So, yes, I'm hearing good things about Tatum, X-Rob, all of them. We'll do position breakdowns and stuff over the next couple of shows. And, I am ready for this to get down. Anybody that you are really just throwing a bunch of stock into?
I mean, I think that we went through everybody, and it was a question. There's two questions. There was what do we need to score points per game? If you can dig that one up. But while I'm answering this, the Kendall Daniels. If you guys saw the Who's Unk video from the football team, I think it came out earlier today. Kendall Daniels and the defensive backs walk up, and dude looked like Predator. I mean, he's
a giant dude.
He is a giant freaking dude, and
let me find it.
He's now starting to get it. So now it's no longer just athleticism and what he's doing. There was one play that was mentioned that Mateer was on a rollout, and he had someone running on the underneath right in front of Kendall Daniels and somebody running back over the top. And so Mateer threw, just a great pass that I'm guessing 95% of, people in Kendall Daniels' spot would have barely missed it and it had gone over. But since guy is 6'5", with a 7-foot wingspan, he got up maximum speed, running full sprint, tipped the ball, almost intercepted it. And so, that's a situation where, that's not – nobody's going to have, a rover, hybrid linebacker safety guy at 6'5" running around in the middle of the field. And so he's not a dude – here he comes right now. So also they call him what do they call him? Pops, because they say that he's he's a little bit bigger. But those guys are, those are
huge human beings.
6'3" guys that he is 2 or 3 inches up above, most of those cats. So that is a guy that I would say.
Yeah,
I would say this is he's just a different cat. And the difference between him and Dasan McCullough is Deshaun was more of an edge guy. That's his strength. He didn't have the weight for it, but that was his strength, was getting up there on the edge and just continual pressure. And so whereas Kendall Daniels, this is a guy who's spent a lot of time playing safety, playing the inside linebacker. So he is going to be someone that if you have not started to, take note, there's not a drop off at Cheetah, and it depends, who's out there. But if you have Kendall Dobie, Kendall Daniels, each guy brings something special.
Yeah, they do. You've got a mixture. Stock for me, and you said there was another question in here. I could not find it, I don't believe, around.
I think it was if we score 30 points per game, what's our record? And I want to say it was about 20, 30
I'll find that in a second, but here's one. Over under on John Mateer, 3,500 yards passing, 600 yards rushing. Those listening on the audio side, feel free to post that in the Spotify chat, because I know they got a chat there. But that's a good question. 3,500. So he threw for 3,100 last year and 800 yards rushing. Gosh, Coop. Can he outdo on the passing what he did last year and run for less?
I don't think he's going to be asked. I don't think he's going to be asked to do as much running, and I think that'll all end up on John Mateer, and obviously the offensive line. I think he was sacked 31 times last year. Offensive line worse than what he's going to be having this year. So I would say this. I think that is a pretty accurate line for this year. That's a 291 per game. We went back and we're looking at some of the numbers, and just the in-conference points per game last year, nobody had 30 points in conference. Every single team had one or two different, spots where they scored on offense 17 or fewer. Every team had it. And so I think that's going to be it. Is you gotta think there's probably going to be one game out there to where you're just not clicking on all cylinders,
right?
And then there's a certain amount of games to where you're going to have. Again, we haven't seen a 400-yard passer since Dylan Gabriel. But there's a couple of those games out there. But with Hawkins still being in tow and wanting to see what he has and keep him engaged, I'm wondering if he's going to have that opportunity to get up there and go really go crazy. But I think 35. I'm going to go with 35-6. That might be dead on.
That actually could be. I know he's going to run enough, especially with this running back room. He's going to be dangerous in the RPO because people are going to be struggling on keeping up with him and everybody else. So we may be good on that. John, my guy, thank you for the $100. We appreciate that. With 4 games in Norman by October 4th, are we concerned with the field conditions holding up? Last year got a bit rough. Can't wait to get the season started. We have a lot of guys with something to prove. Even Mateer, can he do it in the SEC? Spoiler, absolutely. Thank you for the $100. We appreciate the super chat. I have no concerns about the field this year. They did something new. The guy did some new stuff on the field. So, yeah, I think the field's going to be just fine. I think it's actually going to hold up this time around. They practiced on it when they did the so we'll see what it looks like. We'll see what it looks like on the next scrimmage video. Let's put it this way. When the next scrimmage video drops, I'm going to pay attention to the field, and that will tell us everything we need to know, which I think the next scrimmage is sometime this week. Then I'll be able to confidently say if the field will hold up and be prepared for after Red River. When we, after Red River, we go, actually, Kent State by week. After Red River, we go to South Carolina, and then we come back for Ole Miss. I think it's fine. I think it actually will be good in that. But on the Mateer one, actually, I think he'll have more than 3,500. I'm going to say 3,600 yards passing, but I think he has less rushing yards. I think he has about 500. If there's a caveat, though, if he is in Heisman contention, he'll probably have close to 1,000 yards rushing. I think that's one of those he'll put everybody on his back and go type deal. So thank you for that $100. Here's one for you, Coop. Elijah Thomas. You think he starts?
I'd say that Elijah Thomas probably has a handful of starts at some point in the season.
Me too.
Up front, no. I do think that early you're probably going to see Burks. You're probably going to see Keontez Lewis. Once Javon, I mean, maybe he does start Illinois State. I mean, I'm not too sure, but I would say that the 5 starts is probably a good number, that he gets 5 starts throughout the season, because he is going to be one of the outside guys. If it was a situation where he was competing with Satania and he was competing with Burks, that'd be a little tough ask. But on the outside, there are some opportunities. So, let's go with this. I'm going Kearney, Burks, and Keontez Lewis probably starting early in the season. And then it's going to be a battle for who goes because, I mean, a lot of folks love Keontez Lewis. They love his size. They love his speed. And then Javonte is going to be or not Javonte, but Javonte Gibson is going to be coming back. There's some guy will be coming back.
One of those guys.
If he comes back, say, for Michigan, makes it a little bit harder. But that's not a dude that stays off. I mean, that's the one thing about this team is I think that when you've got the loaded team, it's hard for the starts number to be a big measurable. What we want to see is snaps. It does. If he does start games, that means the rise is happening, and I do expect that.
It's heavy on the snaps, and that's what I'm focused on too. I want to see how many snaps. I think Elijah Thomas gets a lot of snaps. I truly believe he finishes the season over 200 snaps on the season, which that's a lot for a true freshman wide receiver that is behind a lot of potential veterans that could play. The question is how many of those players play. We don't know how many of them is going to play though. If they don't, if we have a lot of people still out due to injury, then I can see him getting closer to 400 snaps. But 200 snaps is a lot of snaps, but I can see him getting that. Kendall Dobie, how's he coming along? It sounds like he's going good. Sounds like he's running. Sounds like he's moving. They're just not going to rush him because why? Right?
You know what
why
he is. You know what he is. And
yeah, same thing with Deion Burks. Both of those are. What's the point of you don't need to do more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and Dolby's gonna know the defense, and then these are the things that where this is great time for Kendall Daniels because this is a new defense from him. This is a new expectation for him. I mean, last year, why play? I mean, you're literally playing just for yourself, and even with that, I mean, it was just a lost season for Oklahoma State. And so now he has, like I said earlier, he has that. You don't want to be the dude who's out on the field and makes the mistake. You want to drive yourself harder, and you want to keep pushing. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with Kendall. I'm okay with Kendall Dobie practicing like the week before just to get hit a few times.
Yeah, just to get some tackles in and get his conditioning at the right spot and get his cuts right. That's it. We don't need to see much Dobie yet. Like with Eli down too, I could see him doing a lot of outside corner against Illinois State just to start. I had a dream about that too. I had a dream that they was destroying those kids. It was pretty bad. Like I woke up from the dream like, dang, that was a bad game. Why did we beat them by 100 points? That was rude. You didn't have to do that. It was bad. So yeah, Lloyd, what's good? You're always here and faithful. We appreciate you always pulling up. Question: who will be OU's leading wide receiver this season? This goes in conjunction perfectly with the second one. This one here, who will be Mateer's top target? Coop, give me your leading receiver, Mateer's top target. I don't think that's going to be the same thing.
Javonte Gibson.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Guys, Javonte Gibson, this is like Terrell Owens came out of, was it Chattanooga?
Yeah, Tennessee Chattanooga.
So, I mean, that was a dude who the transfer portal wasn't a thing unless you wanted to go sit out a year, or do those types of that wasn't a thing. Javonte Gibson is the perfect reason why the transfer portal exists. And I fully believe that if it's, again, target is Michigan, he was different. And he looks different. He's got a different body style. And he is he is going to be special. So if he comes back fully healthy, it's Javonte Gibson.
Okay. Let's go with that then. I'm saying Zion Kearney. I think he ends up being the top receiver, leading receiver this year. Who's Mateer's top target? I agree with you. I think it's going to be Giovanni by the end of it.
Yeah.
I think Deion Burks and Satania are going to kind of even each other out. And that's why I didn't pick either one of those two, because I think Burks is going to be really good and have a really good season this year. He's going to finally break out. He may actually be our 1,000-yard receiver, but I think somebody else may outdo him by just a little bit. I think Satania is going to take a little bit away from him. And that's going to be great for Satania going into next season, because he's going to be a monster in that capacity. That's where it's going to be fun. This is a good one here. Oklahoma weather update. Yeah, weather update. That's an interesting account. Appreciate it. What's the intel on offense this year? I haven't watched much when it comes to predictions and stuff, so I'm hoping we have some good stuff on the offense. What are y'all's thoughts? Talked about that earlier. Get in the water. Get excited. Our boy Red always points that out. Get in the water. Get excited. Just get out there and just open your heart to all of it, because I think the offense is going to be better than people anticipate. We actually did what we were supposed to do. We went out and fixed some of the problems. We went and grabbed pieces that we needed to fix said problem. So I'm in on the offense, Coop. You?
Yeah, I mean, and you'll have to remind me, because I'm drawing a blank here, but there was somebody who just came out with numbers and kind of expectations for where this team should land, and I think they had them at
BCF.
Yes, they had OU at number 40, so the 40th best offense in the country. My only concern about the total numbers is I think that if you go back to the Kyler Baker, Jalen Hurts, you go back into those years like that, you had a lot of different dudes all over the place, and you could spread it out. You could spread the wealth from the receiver. And, if we're talking 5 or 6 guys that we expect to actually do a lot, and we don't ever bring up Josiah Martin, like that's a dude who I think could do a lot of stuff also, the freshman Elijah Thomas. Yep. But I would say this is one concern that I have statistically is I expect this offense to be able to do something with the turnovers that the defense gives them, which means a lot of short fields. So if you guys look back to Temple last year, Jackson Arnold didn't have a great statistical game passing yards-wise because he took the ball at midfield 3 or 4 times and in plus territory a couple times. And so, there's that. He couldn't get a third down, but, we didn't have to. And so I expect a lot of short fields. And so that would be the only hampering on total of the offensive numbers.
I can see that. That makes sense. I'm wondering how much contribution do we get from tight end? That is really what my most curiosity comes from, is where do we, what does the tight end contribute? Deion Burks, over under 1,000 yards. I think he gets right around 1,000. He may end up with a healthy. If he stays healthy, he could end up with a Drake Stoops type like season, but with more yards. But I don't think he's the top receiver.
I would say this is kind of, and I'm lumping in 2 answers. The tight end, I think a lot of tight end production is going to come from everything, all the attention being elsewhere, and the tight end just is left alone. But I do think that Burks, if I said, I have him at under, I bet he has like an 890 to 950 type of yard deal. Because I think Satania is going to take, I think Satania and him, at some point Arbuckle's going to have to find ways to have those guys running crossers lined up on both sides of the line.
Yeah, that's true. Answer with your heart. OU regular season record this year. Not going to give you that now. I'm sorry. You'll get that next week. Next week, we'll give final predictions. We'll give scrimmage notes. We'll give final predictions. We're going to go put everything in stone, and we're going to tell you who they're going to lose to, who they're going to upset. We're going to give you all of that next week. So you got to tune in. Thank you, Frankie, for the question.
Frankie, it'll be better than what I have predicted for Texas.
This is a good question. This is interesting. I got to look through the numbers. What average number of plays, thank you, Greg, on this one, average number of plays per drive would be ideal for a team balance? Oh. I'd say about 8. No, I'd say 8. I'd say 8. I think 8 would be a good average number of plays per possession because I expect a lot more big plays this year than last.
That's the one thing that I want to see what Arbuckle does, because that's where Levy had a lot of issues. Levy wanted to go tempo, and if we couldn't score fast and we couldn't score from deep, we had a lot of issues. That was a lot of the reason why we lost Oklahoma State. It's a lot of the reason why we lost to Kansas, 2 years ago, was his inability to mix it up. Now, I think that with the quarterback and the RPO capabilities, remember Jackson Arnold, he just couldn't understand the RPO. And it's not all on him, but a lot, he still had trouble with it.
Yeah, he struggled.
John Mateer knows the RPO. And so that ability to run off and take off 5 or 6 yards per carry, I just want John Mateer to be extremely good decisions when it comes time to fighting for an extra or just getting down. Because that's not a situation where I want him taking – a nice clunk trying to run out the clock for 7 yards instead of 6.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how teams adjust to him in an RPO play. Because we know Mateer knows it so well. This offense is built on it. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, too. This is why we're pretty excited about it, is because it's funny. Jonathan says, yay, Coop's mic is fixed. Yeah, I know. I had to get him an adapter. And he ordered that adapter, so now he's good. But yeah, the one real reason why we're also pretty excited about this offensive line this year in comparison is that this is an offense that Bill Beatonbow is used to running too for his offensive line. He prefers it. So when your coach has done this for a while and now this is what he's doing, yeah, that's going to be a plus. All right. There's one more question I'm going to go ahead and allow before we get out of here. I got to go run and be a parent for a minute and then hurry on, scuffle back. But every year, Sooners have a drop and egg type game. Who will be the bad game we be against this year? It won't be any of the home games. I think if I had to pick one, it's Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That's the game I pick. Late November. Luckily, it's after a bye week, and I think they have Georgia the week before. So it's not going to be that. It's not going to be all unicorns and all of that for them either. It's going to be it's going to be tough because they're going to be in a battle. I think they had Bama afterwards. Texas.
I want to say that I thought that they had
or is it LSU? It's LSU. It's
no,
LSU before us. So LSU comes to Tuscaloosa the week before, so it's another physical game. They get Georgia. They travel to Georgia after a bye week. That is freaking great for them. That is awesome. I think that Georgia game is going to line up perfectly for Bama because of that. And we'll look at some of these other teams. Actually, that's the one thing I'm going to look at, too, is chaos scenarios. And I want to talk about some more of these games. What could records look like when we meet up against people? That's a fun conversation. But anyway, they have LSU the week before us. We have a bye week a week before them. So that, to me, is the game we probably egg up. But at the same time, it's going to be a challenge for them, too.
I'm here, and then they Eastern Illinois right after us. So I mean, as soon as that game ends, and against LSU, they can 100% turn 2 weeks of focus right to us. I mean, here's my thing: is straight up, I don't think South Carolina is going to be a game that we should lose. They lost an absolute ton, a lot on defense, running back, wide receivers, etc. But coming off Texas, the Brent Venables curse has been, staying focused and staying on task. And so that, if you're going to throw a clunker, I mean that's a good candidate. I think it happens at some point because my prediction is based off of And yeah, as you saw it last year, as we went through the numbers and just kind of what teams did, is everybody threw out a little bit of a clunker at one point, and most of the teams in the SEC had 2 of them. But you're going to throw one of those out there, and it's just somewhat inevitable, unless this is just an absolute magical season.
Yeah, this is just a magical season. But I'll say that's probably the one. But again, the one saving grace for us is that we have a bye week right before. Tennessee could be that game because it's the last one on the 5. On that 5-game stretch, they're the final game on the 5-game stretch, and it's on the road, which would suck. But I don't know if Tennessee's going to be any good. Like, I know everybody keeps saying that the schedule is tough, man. I'm kind of curious to, is it really tough? Like, have we gotten past that thought process of it being tough yet? Because when we look at it, it don't feel like it.
With the buys laid out and with the certain teams already just facing a lot of questions, I'm with you, Jay, is people got to quit looking at the schedule and be like, based off of last year, this is a tough schedule. Because that's true. But this is a complete different schedule than last year. It's not the same schedule. Because it's hard for you to say that Texas's schedule is much stronger this year and it's the same damn schedule.
Yep. Who's healthy? Who's healthy? And who actually has a quarterback that we're playing against? That's the scary part for a lot of these teams. A lot of these teams ain't got the quarterback they thought they did. That's the one that gets it. So, all right, we're going to get out of here. I've got to go be a parent for a minute. So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. If you're listening to the audio version, we appreciate the love and support. And we will be back, next week? We'll get back to 2 times a week, probably the week before Illinois State. That's when we start breaking down all the positions. So twice a week, we'll get back to Wednesdays, but we'll always be here on Sundays. We'll chop it up soon. Peace.